Hi everybody, Mr. Carter here today, and today I'm going to give you a tutorial on how to make your own safe lightsaber for your own use. What I've got here is a length of 1/2 inch PVC pipe. You can get this at Home Depot for under $6 for 10 feet of it. And what we want to do is we want to cut it into 3-foot lengths. So if you use your math skills, you know that you can get 3 3-foot lengths out of that and have a foot left over. Near the PVC pipe, usually in the same aisle, you find 1/2 inch PVC insulation. Now you'll see that this kind comes in about 6-foot lengths, and you'll see that it has a seam. The seam is not split when you get it, but it will split if you are hitting them against one another. So you probably want to reinforce that when you're using it. Now what I do is I take the 6-foot length, since 6 is exactly twice as long as we want it, and I fold it like this. And then I cut it in the middle down here so that we have 2 3-foot lengths. This is $1.79. So here you can see I'm cutting it, and you're going to hear a little pop when you cut it. Now you can see that I'm using a yardstick. You can use a tape measure. I'm doing it from the end. You can see the upside down number here. The end would be 36 inches or 3 feet. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark it at 34 inches. If you've already cut it at 36, it's no big deal to cut off another 2. The reason we do it is so that we'll have an inch on either end to keep the pipe from poking out and hurting someone. And hit record. Okay, so watch how I'm turning it around the PVC. You can see that it's scoring it a little bit. Now I'm going to tighten it just a little more. Okay, and then as we continue to turn it around, tighten it a little more, you'll see that after less than probably a minute, it'll cut all the way through, and you'll have the length of pipe that you want just drop right off. Oop. Or you'll have that drop off, and you'll have to tighten it again. Stop. Now, you'll notice that I have here 4 different colors of duct tape. You don't have to go that crazy. I prefer Gorilla Tape because it's stronger and extremely sticky. But that is plain old Staples duct tape right there. And I've got some red Sith duct tape. I've got some blue Jedi tape. And for the handles, I've even got some silver aluminum tape, which has got a backing on it. And you have to peel it off. And it's extremely hard not to get it wrinkled. But don't worry if it gets wrinkled. Now taking about 3 inches of tape, and I'm going to put it on this end. And you'll notice that I want to squeeze it a little bit so that the tip of the pipe is actually covered. Okay, cover that up. And then I like to put another piece around it so that that doesn't come. Sometimes I'll even put another piece across it. Same thing on the other end. About 3 inches. Put it together, squeeze it, and close the end of that foam so that the pipe doesn't poke through. Now that the pipe is inside of the foam, you can see that that seam is much more open. So we want to tape that closed. I like to tear off a piece that is the length of the whole thing and then go slowly down the thing so I can squeeze that crack together. As you can see, it's almost impossible to do it without any wrinkles, but maybe somebody with a steadier hand would be able to do it better than me. You could use it just like this. The rest of what I'm going to do is just for decoration. I'm going to make this a Sith Saber. Now, the way the legend in Star Wars goes is that all dark side Force users, their kyber crystals that power their lightsabers are red. So you'll notice that all of the bad guys in Star Wars use red. So I'm going to take off and make the end, just like I did with the silver, I'm going to cover it with the red. so that we have the end be red as well. Now there's a couple ways you can do this. Either way, you're going to want to overlap. You can do individual strips of tape all the way down, or you can try to wrap it kind of like a barber pole in a coil all the way around. Either way is a pain, but if you want it to be one color, that's what you got to do. This one you can see I did with individual about 5 or 6 inches of tape, and I overlap them every time. But you leave the last 10 to 12 inches for your hilt. You can either leave it plain like that, or you can wrap it with a different color of tape. Sometimes people use the black Gorilla Tape, which is great. You can use any color you like. I'm going to use foil tape. Now, foil tape is a little bit difficult to work with. You can see it's got a paper backing to it. So you have to peel it off, and when you peel it off, it's really sticky and it's really easy for it to get wrinkled. So that's what I'm doing, and I'm going to do the same thing I did before with the other kind of tape. I want my end to be shiny, so I'm going to put some foil over the end. This one, I certainly would not recommend you try to coil it up, but I'm going to try using strips like this. And I'm going to put one strip the other direction on both ends to make it nice and neat. But let's see how it works with the strips. So this was 3 lengthwise strips, and it went all the way around. Nothing you can do about it. Don't worry about the wrinkles so much, because when you squeeze it, it's going to get wrinkled anyway. Okay, now I'm going to put a band around there and a band around there, just for neatness. So here's our finished product. We got a foil handle. We got a red saber. You see both ends are closed up to keep the pipe from coming out. And it looks okay, especially from a distance. Here's a Jedi one that I did, and you can see that I did more of the coiling. One of the things I've always loved about teaching is that when you try to show somebody else how to do something, it really makes you think about how to do it yourself. Now, after I made the rest of this video, I tried to do one in front of a class and do it as quickly as I could. And I discovered a technique of wrapping it around that just seemed to turn out a whole lot better. As you can see, this one doesn't have anywhere near as many wrinkles. What I did is I sat so that I was keeping tension on the tape, and you can see the angle at which I did it overlapped, but not too much. So you can see it's probably got the least wrinkles of any I had done. And then at the bottom here, I just used the regular traditional silver duct tape. I drew a button, but it's gone. So I hope that's helpful to you. And keep an eye out, because I'm also going to be doing a tutorial on the different positions that I learned from Mike Starwalker. Now, when I was buying the materials at Home Depot and explaining what I was doing, the lady at Home Depot said, "How on earth is that something that's acceptable in a music class?" Well, let me explain. So here we have a lesson about dies al fine. What that means is when you get to this point right here, you're going to look for the sign del segno in Italian and play al fine until the end. Okay, so you get to there, then you go back to the sign, and you play until the ending, fine. So what we end up doing is the top measure, the second measure, the third measure, then we go back to the sign and do that second measure again. So it ends up being 1, 2, 5, 2, 1, 2, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 8. Those numbers are different offensive and defensive positions that I've taught the students. This is choreography.
I'm doing it. Yep, he did.
Okay. So here's what those numbers mean. Here's 1, 2, 5, 2, 1, 2, 8. And we have 1, 2, 3, 2,